Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new video, and this one is a prep video. I am going to start working on my Chicago album. So I wanted to show you the album I'm using, what I've done so far to get ready, stuff I've gathered, all that good stuff. So first of all, I'm trying something really different for this album, and I'm just hoping that it goes well. I am doing a Life Crafted album. If you've never used one of those, they are made to fit pages that are 3x8 to 4x8. So you can have a mix of those. Just use one size if you want, use both. I'm doing a mix of things. Like I said, this is very new for me. I have seen some videos where 6x8 page protectors are used right here in the style where there are two 3x8 pockets, and then it's folded and it becomes kind of a special insert. I have several of those planned. I have some regular 3x8s, as you can see. I have a regular 4x8. I have some pocket 4x8s. I have a whole mix of stuff that I plan to use in here. I'm just hoping that it all fits, because I do want to show you something. This is not the biggest spine I've ever seen. So I am going to be limited in what I can put in here, and I've already made some cuts in terms of what not to use with my photos, so I'm trying to be good, but these are all pages I have loaded that I think I want in there. So that's kind of a lot. And as you can see, I do have one thing loaded already. That is my boarding pass from my flight, and it's just because I didn't want it floating around really willy-nilly. It already got creased and bent a little bit, so I just don't want anything else to happen to it, so it's in there. But I wanted to show you that album. And then to get ready, I tend to do this with most albums to some degree, where I plan out which photos I want to use in what sizes, where they're going to go, just so I have some kind of idea. Because when you do pocket pages, you have to know some of your sizes ahead of time in order to make it work. And so I have to do that. Now, does it ever come out exactly as this plan? No. Of course not. I've actually already figured out, I think, since cutting some of my photos, that they're not going to work, but at least it gives me a base to start with. And speaking of photos, I want to show you, this is my regular stack. If I can get them all here, there we go. So you can see there's a mix. 3x4s, 4x6s, some oddball sizes here that I intend to cut down. This is one where I don't know if it's going to work in the way in which I intended it to work. I think it's probably a little too big, but I don't know. I won't give up. We'll see. But I have 2x2s even for some smaller pockets. So I have a mix of things. Here's another larger one. And then this one that are actually about, like, was it 5.5 this way, I think. So I don't know that I'll be able to use those, but we'll see. But I have a lot of these printed, and I have some full 6x8 pages as well. And so I'm excited to figure out how I'm going to fit all of these different photo sizes into a skinny little album like that. I also want to show some enlargements that I had made, and these all have the metallic finish on them. That is from Nations Photo Lab. If you've never used them, they are fantastic. The metallic finish is my favorite thing that they do. So whenever I have special photos I want to highlight, that's what I use. So I have a couple of 6x8s here. These will all be trimmed down because they're not going to fit in the size in which they come, which is fine. So you can kind of see where I'm going here. Lots of ornate detail. I tried to pick out things that really give a visual pop. If I'm going to do them this way, then I want them to have a good amount of impact. So I have all those. And then look at this. So I printed some in 10x8, and you might be thinking, why? Why would you do that when the book is only this size? Well, that's because, again, I was watching some videos, and I have seen where people will use like a 4 on this side and then the 6x8 on this side, like what you're seeing here. So you could do that. If you cut this in 3, it would fit. There are lots of configurations that would fit, depending on, do you want to use the whole photo, cut it down a little bit, whatever. But I'm going to try that. I've never really separated photos that are this large like that. So I don't know if I'm going to like it once I do it, but I'm willing to try because I like when I see other people do it. So I figure I'll give it a whirl. So I have that, a couple more 6x8s that will be cut down or used in a folding 6x8. And then I have 2 more 10x8s here. So you see where I'm going with this, right? I have some really, really good photos. I want to showcase them, but I really want to try the smaller album because I've gotten away from doing traditional 12x12. I only do it if somebody requests it of me to do an album for them. So I don't do that on my own anymore. I've really taken to these smaller sizes. I really like them. So I'm hoping that this will work. The other thing that I want to show here is this is my folder of crap. I scrap all the crap. That's what I always say. Because I keep so much stuff from when I take trips. So this is all of my extra memorabilia type things. Not all of this is going to make it in there, but I can cut things out of it. This is a little postcard all on its own. You know, I have some interesting things here that I will try to work in there. I have my venture card, which definitely will make it in there. That's for taking the L. So I have all that here at the ready to see what could I work into the album. And then the last thing I want to show you is all the stuff that I have gathered for Chicago. So whenever I start a new project, this is what I tend to do. I tend to gather things that either are specific to that location that I know I have or that I've seen, bring it all together. But then I also just pick out tags, phrases, embellishments, pocket cards, things like that that I think will work with the photos that I know I have. And then it brings them all together so I'm not scrambling when I start putting it together. And I feel like then I almost have a kit that I can work with as a base. That helps me a lot because otherwise it's almost too much choice. I have so many travel things. I need to narrow it down a bit. So here are just some things I've pulled, and I have to be honest that a lot of these were simply based on color and style. I really want some bright, bold colors in this album. And I felt like a lot of these pieces fit the bill for that. And so you can see lots of bright colors happening here. I also have a wood veneer and then an acrylic piece that I have had for a while. And I thought, well, you know, the color might work. So I just put them all together. So I have that in my little envelope. Then I have cards. I've already gathered up a bunch of different cards, lots of 3x4s because I know I'll be using those. You can see right here, some are generic, but then some are specific to Chicago. So I have those. Oops, throw those on the pile. And then I have printed out a bunch of 3x8s and 4x8s. Oh, and some 4x6s I see. Just things that might work in there. I highly doubt I'll use all of these, but they're things I thought might match. And I have them, so I might as well gather them. Next, I have thrown in some stamp sets. I have 2 sets that are specific to Chicago. I've had this one forever. It's a really old Kelly Perky one. This is somewhat new. I got it in, was it 2021? Yeah, it came out in 2021 from Carrie Bradford. And I haven't used any of them yet. Obviously, there are some generic phrases that you might be able to use on here, but mostly it's pretty specific to Chicago. Some people might think that's a waste. Not for me. I go there quite a bit. I'm in Minneapolis, and so it's the next closest really big city where I love to travel. So for me, it's worth it. But I have those at the ready so I can use them. And then I also threw in this one because when I went to a conservatory when I was there, there was a whole desert area, and there are cacti in there. And I love this freaking stamp so much that I want to use it. So I wanted to throw it in here to make sure I didn't forget. And then what's left in here is kind of a mix of things. I have some extra page protectors that I don't know that I'll need, but they're in there in case. I have some extra brochures and things that I picked up that I wanted to keep flat and that would fit in these sizes. And so I've just put them in already and left them in there. Not sure if they'll get used, but hopefully. See, these are some extras of those 6x8 with the divided option in half in case I decide to add more. If anything, I'll probably have to take out pages, but you know, I like to be optimistic. There's another postcard that I bought. I do actually have a photo of this actual thing in the room, but this was so beautiful. I thought, well, you never know. I might like this better. And then I have some extra embellishment things that I had gathered. And then I have these. I'm not sure if these will work. They're pretty big, so I don't know. They might have to go sideways or something. But I like them, and I love that they're white. They would stand out against the photos, so I threw them in there just in case. And then lastly, I have these little adhesive doodads that are from Citrus Twist. They match the Life Crafted album. And they are simply an adhesive strip with the holes already punched in them so that you could add this as is. Just like this, attach it, the holes are made, and it goes in your album and flips. I've never used these before, but I decided maybe I'll give them a whirl on this album because I do have stuff I want to fit in there. And if I can't figure out any other way to incorporate them, this is a great way to do it. So there you have it. You've seen everything that I have put together. I've got all my photos here. I'm excited to work with those. And then my album and my plan. We'll see how it actually all comes together. Thanks for watching.